So the question here is, the color plate is showing what? So as you can see, there is a split thickness flap that has been created. The flap has been reflected and we have placed a graft over here, and later on we have sutured it back into place. The flap has been sutured back into place and there is root exposure. So the answer over here would be subepithelial connective tissue graft for root coverage. This technique was given by Langer and Langer in 1985, and later on Bruno proposed a modification in 1994. So the main indications of this procedure is where aesthetics are of primary concern, that is the maxillary anterior region. However, still a drawback when it comes to these procedures is that the graft does not take up the same color as the adjacent gingiva. That is over here. That is the reason why we prefer using a flap, a split thickness flap, so that at least there will be some color matching. Second is covering the denuded roots. That is when you have root hypersensitivity or a dehiscence or a fenestration because of which the root has been exposed, you can place a graft over there. A thin gingival biotype. As opposed to other places, the maxillary gingiva in general has a thick biotype. That means the gingiva width is thick. However, over here, the thin gingival biotype means that you will use when you place the graft, the thickness of the gingiva increases. This is needed in general for bearing the masticatory stresses. And lastly, in inadequate attached gingiva, this will increase the width of the attached gingiva. Thereby, it will help in the main functions of the gingiva, that is stress transformation and aesthetics, as well as it prevents plaque accumulation in that area. The advantages of this technique is that it is aesthetically pleasing. The graft is taken from the same patient, therefore the surgery can be completed in one appointment itself. It is a one-step procedure in the sense that you reflect the flap, you take the graft, you place the graft and you suture it and it's done. There is minimal palatal trauma because you're taking only a certain amount of connective tissue from the palate, and this increases the graft vascularity. The disadvantage is that it is a technique sensitive procedure because split thickness flaps are much more difficult to reflect and raise as compared to a complete thickness flap. And the suturing over here is also complex because again you are placing a graft right in between uh, two layers of connective tissue. So it is difficult to suture the graft in this particular position. So what you do is you take a split thickness flap over here after you place an incision. You reflect the flap, you place the graft over here and you suture it back.